Hi, World History. This is Miss Corey. Welcome to U7-L1 Islam Basics. Learning goals. Okay, I know this looks like a lot, but I just have to read it off, so don't panic. All right, identify different historical perspectives about religion, slavery, feudalism, and disease in Europe and the Mediterranean world, including the Ottoman Empire. Analyze the emergence, development, and impact of multiple religions and philosophies from at least three different regions, including shamanism, animism, Hinduism, Jainism, Buddhism, Sikhism, Judaism, Christianity, Islam, indigenous religious traditions in Africa and the Americans, and African diasporic religions, and to describe and analyze examples of how religions develop and change over time in response to different social, historical, and political contexts, including but not limited to shamanism, animism, Hinduism, Jainism, Buddhism, Sikhism, Judaism, Christianity, Islam, indigenous religious traditions in Africa and the Americas, and the African diasporic religions. Oh my gosh, that was a lot. All right, your job, you're going to watch this ed puzzle and answer the questions. Questions that are in blue text are going to be questions I want you to answer directly on the ed puzzle. And if you have any questions about anything, please let your teacher know. We are here to help you. All right, so you're probably like, wait, why are we learning about Islam now? Great question. So Islam started in the 600 CE. It was a rapidly growing religion during this time period and still is today. It also had Middle Age and modern influence in North and East Africa, Middle East, Spain, Northwest India, and today across the globe. And it will be important when we talk about the Crusades. I believe that will be next semester or maybe at the very end of the semester. I'm not 100% sure yet. All right, so just like with Unit 4. So when I taught Christianity in Unit 4, same rules apply. I will stick with teaching how Islam came about, basic beliefs, and historical facts. I'm not here to influence you or to tell you what is right or wrong. What you choose to believe in is your choice. I am just going to give you the history. All right, so we saw this flowchart beforehand, a few units ago at least. So we talked about Judaism, and we talked that it started about 2000 BCE. Again, that varies on the source. It's monotheistic. It has important messengers such as Abraham, who is considered the first Jew. It has holy texts, which is the Hebrew Bible, which includes the Torah. The Christian Old Testament and the Hebrew Bible have a majority of the same text. And then from Judaism came Christianity. So that started in about 33 CE with Jesus' death. The main messenger and Messiah is Jesus, who was a Jew, believes in other prophets as well, like people who spread the word of God, including Abraham, and the holy text is the Bible with the Old and the New Testament. So we talked about how Jews and Christians believe in the exact same God, and they are both considered Abrahamic religions. All right. Are you ready to add on to this flowchart? I hope you are, because here it comes. Yes, that's right. Islam is the last puzzle piece we will fit onto this flowchart. So, like we said before, from Judaism came Christianity, from Christianity came Islam. So Islam started in 610 CE. That's where Muhammad, who is the prophet, had a revelation from God. And the main prophet is Muhammad. He is believed to be the final prophet from God. There's also beliefs in other prophets, such as Abraham, which we talked about before, King David, Solomon, Moses, Noah, Jesus, and many more. And the holy text is the Quran, which contains stories found in the Old and the New Testaments. So Jews, Christians, and Muslims believe in all the same God, and all three of these religions are considered Abrahamic religions. All right, so Islam beginnings. So Islam is the name of the religion. A Muslim is a person who is in the Islamic religion. An Arab is someone who is typically from one of these regions colored here from North Africa or the Middle East. Not all Arabs are Muslims. Sometimes people like to interchange them, but they're not interchangeable words. And it all started with a man named Muhammad. So Muhammad was born in Mecca, which is a city in modern-day Saudi Arabia, in 570 CE. So here's a map of that. Mecca is right here, right pretty darn close to the Red Sea, this being Africa over here on this side. He was raised by his uncle, and he married a woman named Khadijah. She owned a caravan for transporting goods, and he oversaw that caravan. Together, they had one son who unfortunately died as a child, and they had multiple daughters. He would go on to marry a total of 12 wives. So originally, The people in Saudi Arabia would probably just have practiced the local Arab religions. So those local Arab religions involved believing in unseen spirits and demons. Some of Muhammad's relatives were originally Christian, though, so Muhammad more than likely had some idea, some basic understanding of what Christianity and Judaism was. So in 610, Muhammad would be 40 years old, and Muhammad was meditating in the mountains around Mecca. God's angel Gabriel, which, yes, is the same Gabriel as the one who told Mary she is pregnant with Jesus, told Muhammad he needed to spread the word of God. To Muslims, this is called the Night of Power and Excellence. So Muhammad was shocked when he got this message from Gabriel. He was so shocked, in fact, that he didn't tell anyone but family and friends about Gabriel talking to him for 3 years. In 613, he started having revelations and started spreading the word of God. Basic beliefs that he preached included that souls would be judged by God at the end of time. God created the universe. There's only one God, which translates to the word Allah, but it is, again, the same God as the Jews and Christians, so it is a monotheistic religion. There are beliefs in prophets. Muhammad would be the final prophet, and belief in angels as well. All right. So at first, there were a few followers of Muhammad. Muhammad usually just preached in his hometown of Mecca. Mecca authorities did not like him preaching around. The reason for that is because the higher ups in Mecca believed in the local polytheistic religion. They weren't so keen about him spreading this new monotheistic religion. Muhammad started to gain followers who were usually Jews and Christians. So Jews and Christians really liked Muhammad's teachings because they were not written. So a lot of people during this time couldn't read or write. So they couldn't read the Torah or the Bible for themselves. So having something spoken to them was pretty much the only way you could spread around the word. B, similar or the same teachings as Judaism and Christianity. This wasn't this like crazy new religion with all these like new things. It ties very closely into Judaism and Christianity. And C, it came right from the Prophet Muhammad himself. So people were listening to the Prophet face to face, and it wasn't just these stories that were passed from generation to generation by word of mouth. So Muhammad was kicked out of Mecca by the authorities. He and his followers then went to Medina in 622, which is in modern day Saudi Arabia as well. So here's Mecca right here. It's about 280 miles to Medina, which is pretty much straight to the north. And they would go on to spread Islamic word as they traveled. Muhammad's travel from Mecca to Medina is called the Hijra, and it marks year number 1 in the Islamic calendar. So, kind of the long story short about how Muslims became a conquering religion in the Middle East is that Muhammad and the Muslims were really mad at Mecca for kicking them out. So, the Muslims battled Mecca in a series of battles. Muslims eventually took over Mecca and Medina, and then they started their own government, conquering more land after Muhammad dies. So Muhammad died in 632 due to illness or fever. Within 24 hours, the new leader of Islam was chosen. His name is Abu Bakr, who's this dude right here. He is one of Muhammad's friends. Abu Bakr gained the title of Khalifa or successor. In English, we call that Caliph. And he continued on Muhammad's teachings, and he helped establish the writings of the holy text of the Quran. All right, so one of the most important aspects of Islam is the 5 pillars. So, the 5 pillars of Islam. Number 1, there is only one God and Muhammad is his messenger. 2, pray 5 times a day. 3, fasting during Ramadan. 4, paying alms, which means that you would give food and money to the poor. 5 is to make a pilgrimage once in a lifetime to Mecca. So, pilgrimage is like a religious journey. So today, too, Muslims are supposed to pray 5 times a day towards the city of Mecca. So the reason why Mecca is the place where they should pray to is because Muhammad's home city was Mecca. And it's also where Muhammad had the message given to him from Gabriel. There is something called a Qibla, which is a compass that always points in the direction of Mecca. With today's technology as well, you can just there's lots of apps and other resources on the internet to see which way a person should pray. So, for example, here's Elk River. You can also Google what times a day someone should pray. So this was already back in 2023, but you kind of get the point of the different times. All right, so Quran is their holy text. It is written by the people who heard Muhammad's teaching. It was not written by Muhammad himself because he was actually illiterate. So, it includes all the teachings that Muhammad heard from the angel Gabriel during his multiple revelations, which are his learnings and teachings he got from Gabriel between 610 and 632 CE. A lot of the stories are very similar to the Torah and the Bible, but some details may slightly differ. And the Quran includes Muhammad's night journey as well. This is when he was divinely transported from Mecca to Jerusalem to heaven, where he was then in the presence of God. All right, so one of the kind of cool things about Qurans is that they are usually very beautiful. They are very decorated with lots of details. So here would be the front cover of this Quran. As you can see, there's like gold leaf in it. There's a bunch of beautiful flowers. When you open up the pages, you'll see some words here, but a lot of the time the words are surrounded by these really, really intricate, detailed drawings. You can see there's a lot of geometrical patterns. There's a lot of colors. It's very bold. All right, so the one thing is with images of Muhammad. So you person cannot have statues or paintings or drawings of Muhammad or the prophets. This is to stop the risk of idolizing the art. So idolizing means worshiping the object and not the real God. Then we have the mosque. So the mosque is a place of worship for Muslims. Is it equivalent to what a Jewish synagogue would be or a Christian church? The prayer leaders are called imam, and they always face Mecca. A minbar is the platform that the imam leader prays on, and the minaret is the tower attached or next to the mosque. Sometimes mosques also have courtyards, and mosques come in all shapes and sizes. So here is one of the most grand mosques. So this is the Blue Mosque located in Turkey. And then here is a mosque in Minneapolis. All right, now let's talk about the Hajj. So the Hajj is a pilgrimage to Mecca, and it's one of the five pillars of Islam. So every Muslim needs to go to the Masjid Al Haram Mosque in Saudi Arabia. So the last time I Googled it of how much it costs to go from the United States to Saudi Arabia to Mecca, it cost about $8,000 approximately. So it's not a cheap trip. So when I was in high school, I always wondered what the black building is in the middle of the Hajj's mosque. So here's the big mosque here. I know it kind of looks like a stadium, but it is a mosque and it's open air. And you can just see all of these people. So every little tiny black dot you see is a person. And then in the middle here is this black box. And then here's more of a close-up picture of what that looks like. So what do you think it is? If you don't already know, some of you probably already do know. So it's called the Kaaba, and it's believed to be where Allah or God has his earthly home. And it is a building. People can go inside, but usually only high up imam or prayer leaders can go in. And this was what really Muslims pray to 5 times a day. Here's a picture of the inside of the Kaaba, by the way. All right. So there are two main branches of Islam. I'm not going to go into super detail about it, but there is the Shia or the Shiites and the Sunnis, and they split up in 656. Again, I'm not going to go into a lot of detail of why they split up, but pretty much the main difference between them is the Shia believe that only the descendants of Muhammad can be caliphs, versus the Sunni believes that caliphs do not have to be descendants of Muhammad. Pretty much everything else is the same beliefs. All right, so good question. Who is the leader of Islam today? So usually the caliphate is the leader of Islam. It's kind of like a king, and he would rule the government and religious structure. The last caliphate ended in 1924 with the fall of the Ottoman Empire due to siding with the losing side in World War I, which would be Germany. Today, there is no one ruler. It's mostly local rulers and different rulers of Sunni and Shiite religions, and imams or leaders because they're expert in Islamic laws. All right, let's wrap this up. Today, we talked about the beginning of Islam, Muhammad, Mecca, Medina, basics of Islam, which are the five pillars, mosque, Hajj, and Kaaba. Next up, so here are all of the assignments for the rest of the unit. We have U7L2, what is Islam? That is one of those cheesy 1990s videos about religion that I made you watch. I think I made you watch the Judaism one and the Christianity one. Um, you're going to answer the questions and I will be grading you on what you get right or wrong. After that, you're going to do U7L3, the early Islamic Empire. That's just kind of talking about how Islam became kind of like this big military force um, during like the very beginning of Islam. That's an Ed puzzle video. U7L4 is the Ottoman Empire reading and quiz. That is a reading actually out of your textbook. I know we don't we don't read out of the textbook often, if ever at all, to be completely honest. So this will be a little bit different. So this comes from your textbook. You're going to read the reading, and then you're going to take the quiz after that. Then after that, you're going to do U7L5, Turkish folklore reading. So that's the first time I'm doing that assignment. It's kind of a interesting assignment. It's about a folklore tale from the Turkish area. Um, just kind of fun to read, but also has some symbolism in it. So then we're going to do U7L6, Africa's Great Civilizations, The Cross and the Crescent. U7L7, Africa's Great Civilization, Empires of Gold. And U7L8, Africa's Great Civilization, Cities. So these three videos right here come from this program from PBS. I will be grading on what questions you get right or wrong. They're all Ed puzzles, by the way. Each of the video is 52 minutes. So each of these are 52 minutes. Okay. So make sure you allow yourself enough time to get them done. I'm especially talking to the people who like to do stuff on Sundays in the evening to the night. So make sure you have enough time to get those done. Okay. Then we have U7L9, Islam Today. That's a choice board talking about some Islamic people today. And then the Unit 7 summative, which I honestly haven't made yet. So can't say anything about that until I am done making that. All right, that's all I got. Let us know if you have questions. Bye.